evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Four Dorksmen podcast. Tonight, we've got special guest Delorean Wolfgang from the Secondary Heroes podcast coming on board to enjoy a little bit of one-on-one time with us. This is the way of the dork.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 71 of the Four Dorksmen podcast.
Pork
I am
cast.
Collector Clint.
Cast?
Pork. Cast my pork on you.
Apparently, we're hungry. Anyway, I am Collector Clint.
Pork cast.
I think you're supposed to go next, Joey.
I did go. I said pork cast.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I'm Asian Tony Stark.
And we have a very special guest returning for, I believe, his second stint with us, which we're excited about. We'll let you introduce himself.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Delorean Wolfgang from the Secondary Heroes podcast. Glad to be back again.
We're thrilled to have you back, sir. Thanks for joining us again. I do want to say real quick that Alex is watching his football game right now while Joey's is over, as Joey and my team played. And I know we've talked about doing a wager, streaming it or something, but thank God we didn't, since all four of the quarterbacks on the roster for the Broncos were unable to play today. So they had a total of 13 passing yards.
You know, that's a lesson to everybody. Wear your damn mask. Because
Right?
if the quarterbacks would have had their masks on, they would not have all been close contact quarantined. And they could have actually played in the game, including their normal starting quarterback. So, lesson learned.
Yeah.
The hard way.
Lesson learned. Hopefully from other people. Yes, exactly. We're all thick-headed. But regardless, as Nate would say, wear your damn mask, wash your damn hands, socially distance, etc. By the way, Nate is MIA today, in case you didn't gather. We look forward to having him back next week. Shit happens. So here we are. Anyway, let's do some housekeeping. So first of all, you can email us, dorksmen@gmail.com. And I actually was thinking about this. So we just finished our Extra Life fundraising here earlier today. And of course, we get an email every time we get a donation. So I'm wondering if Extra Life got all these extra auto replies that said this whole long spiel that Nate wrote. But either way, thank you for everyone that contributed to us, to anybody on the Nerds Unite team. Over $37,000 last I looked, which is an amazing, amazing feat done as a team, not only for the donations and the streams, but for just everything that went into it. So thank you for that. Moving back on to housekeeping, @the_Dorksman on Twitter and Instagram is where you can find us. Please interact with us. Hashtag Ask the Dorksman should be something you have always in the back of your head if a question comes up and you want to share it on Twitter. Dorksmanbingo.com, created by Toy Rewind's own Andrew Newland. Thank you for that. Shout out to Andrew. Alex gave us the bell, so you're probably going to hear it a few times today. And shout out to Larry from the SDS Guys and Totally Rad Movie Podcast for the redirect. I think that's all the housekeeping, right? It's been a while since I've done this, so I got to remember that.
Sounds about right.
I think. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, as I mentioned, Ask the Dorksman, that's how we're always going to start our show. We're going to do it this time, too. So our friends at 3 Beers and a Mic, which is absolutely a podcast you should be listening to. I imagine this was Manger that wrote this question. He asks, least favorite Thanksgiving side dish? Joey, you want to start us out?
Cranberry sauce. Get that crap out of here. Like, don't even put it out on the table.
I am 100% with you. I mean, Thanksgiving has so many amazing things on it, including stuffing. I think stuffing is my favorite if anyone's curious. But then they have this cranberry sauce, and it's like it's there because it's tradition, not because it's delicious. In my
crazy
opinion.
How people get about it too. Oh, we gotta have cranberry sauce, and then it's like even crazier that some people are like dedicated to having the canned version of it.
Right,
it's got to come out of the can. Like, get out of here. Like, that's like, oh, I want mashed potatoes out of the box. Like, who requests the worst version of things?
Whoa, don't be knocking mashed potatoes out of a box.
Oh, I'll knock them, sir, because they are hella gross, and nobody should have to consume them.
Oh, okay. All right.
Wait, Alex, where you go? Alex, come back. Alex, come on, dude.
No, I'm leaving.
All right, so here's a question that I have before I answer. Well, let me also say cranberry sauce. Yeah, that shit's gross. Get that out of here. But to play off of Joey's question or response about mashed potatoes, would you guys rather have it like creamy, or would you rather have it kind of chunky where you still have little bits and pieces of small potato in there?
Ryan, the answer is yes.
Absolutely. I'm 100% with Clint on this one.
Is it like pizza then, where there's like mashed potatoes and there's mashed potatoes?
As long as it's made out of like real potatoes and not out of kitty litter that you got poured out of a box,
Yeah, that rehydrated shit.
Then then we're good.
It's getting aggressive.
Wow. Jeez. Bunch of take off your white wigs there, fellas.
Whoa,
A little
whoa.
judgy, you think?
A little, just a little bit.
Just a little.
Just-
We like
just a little
food. What can we say?
That's right. So Ryan also says cranberry sauce.
Yeah.
Are you going for the sweep here, Alex, or do you have something else to add to that?
You know what? I'll go for cranberry sauce as well, because honestly, I will eat anything that's in front of me. And cranberry sauce is just one of those things I don't put on my plate, so doesn't need to be on my plate.
I like it. It's funny, Joe. You were talking about how it's like people even freak out for the canned and want the canned, which is crazy. I'm reminded of the Bob's Burgers episode where he's looking for fresh cranberries. I'm also reminded of John Oliver on Last Week Tonight when he talks about cranberries. It's on his sugar episode, and he's like, nobody would eat it if there was no sugar. Have you ever had this horrible bogberry? So it absolutely made me chuckle with that. So anyway, I'm responding to Maynard right now to say thank you and get his answer. I have a feeling it might be the same. But
yeah,
we'll
I can't think of anything else that would be something to poo-poo.
Yeah, I mean, turkey's delicious, and actually, turkey's like to me actually one of the most underwhelming pieces of Thanksgiving, because then you do have the mashed potatoes, you have stuffing. I like green bean casserole. There's always some really nice, even rolls are good because you can dip it and mix it in the gravy. Yeah.
Oh, that's one of my favorites. I'll tell you one that I don't know, it may just be a Southern thing, but sweet potato casserole is also really, really gross. So I could have also put that one on my list. I don't want any sweet potato casserole either.
I've never had that before, but it doesn't sound overly appetizing.
It's not as bad as cranberries, but and there's some people that just love sweet potatoes too.
Yeah, I'll give you this. My wife made this macaroni and cheese with sweet potatoes in it.
What?
Sweet potato. Oh, dude. Surprisingly knocked my socks off.
Really?
And it wouldn't be the first time she's done that. Wink!
Whoa. So that's where babies come from, eh?
Friends, I don't even ask that question anymore.
Well, of course you don't. You've seen it. Yeah, you know all about it now.
Apparently it comes from mac and cheese with sweet potatoes.
I'm going to write that down. Babies come from mac and cheese.
Knocking my socks off.
Oh my goodness.
Alex is like, nobody needs oysters. I've got the mac and cheese with sweet potatoes.
But yeah, I'll have to look up that recipe because it is really good.
That doesn't, because anyway, I mean, mac and cheese
totally threw me off, dude.
Yeah,
I never would have thought, but it wasn't like a traditional like macaroni and cheese that you would usually make. It was like it had onions, it had a bunch of other things in it as well. So yeah, don't think that it was like Kraft macaroni and cheese and let's put in some sweet potatoes in it
from a box.
Sure. But
I don't know. I just thought I'd throw that in there.
I'm not gonna lie though, mac and cheese is just like mashed potatoes, which is just like pizza. There's good and then there's better. Anyway, thank you for the question. 3 beers and a pint. Hope you listen to that podcast as well. Second question comes from our friend Ferd, who asked a number of questions this week, but this is actually an old one. He asks, "Did you have a nickname growing up or in college, and what is the story behind it?" You want to start us off again, Joey?
I was obviously very overgrown at an early age.
Overgrown.
So I've had a bunch of nicknames over the years, but I'll just tell you my first one was just Biggs. That's this kid down the street. He was a little bit older than us, but he had like a really awesome house. Like it had like a half-size football field in the backyard. He had like a tree house. He had half a basketball court. He had an indoor swimming pool. So everybody in the neighborhood went and hung out at his house and played. And so that was the nickname I got at that point in life. So I guess that was my first nickname.
Very good. That's a good. I was hoping for something a little more derogatory, I guess, just to make it more interesting. But that is a good one and appropriate. The one that came to mind with this is in college. I'm trying to remember. There was this commercial. And I'm trying to remember what it was. Maybe you'll remember what I'm talking about. But this guy would walk into a room and everyone would just yell his name, Schmitty, right? So I did that. I just randomly walked in on my roommates one, just yelled it and like walked away just to be funny. That still stuck with me. I see him still to this day when I go up to Fort Collins and see him. I can hear somebody across the room yelling, Schmitty! I'm like, oh, that's me.
So that's your nickname now because you yelled it one time?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't yell it for any other context that I just went into the room, yelled it, and left just to throw him off, I think. I'm trying to remember the story exactly, but...
That's how the best nicknames get earned, is just randomly.
Hey, guy, 100% agree. But I still once in a while it comes up and I still smile and have to turn around and then of course go talk to the person that said it. But I really wish I could remember what the commercial was for. I want to say Verizon, but that doesn't seem right. Anyway, that's my answer. Ryan, what you got?
Well, from the lack of derogatory on Joey's side, I think I can fill that void a bit. I have two. I think I think I've talked about both of them before, but we'll rehash it. So the first nickname I can remember having was when I was in elementary school. And let me also state the caveat, I am Japanese, not Chinese. But my friend's older brother used to call me Short Round from Indiana Jones. And of course, he's Chinese. And then oddly enough, now we know somebody that tried out for the part, that being Gary. Right? You guys are aware of that.
Nope.
Nope.
Did not know that.
Are you being serious?
I'm dead serious. Are you being serious?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, okay. The only reason I'm
so
like
confused.
kind of shocked is he's talked about I'm pretty sure he brought it up on the podcast with us when he was a guest.
It might have been the one where he filled in for me while I was gone.
Maybe.
I don't remember him talking about that.
Maybe that's true. Okay, but yes, Gary did actually audition for the part. But anyway, so I used to be called Short Round strictly because he thought I looked like Data or Short Round, whichever way you want to call him, same actor. And then later in life, when I started my DJ career, I used to go by DJ Edit. People used to call me DJ ED It. So it came out as like something random. They were trying to spell out my name and somebody screwed it up and they said idiot. And they're like, that's funny. We'll call you Idiot.
Yeah, nice.
And I still have one friend that will still do that to me to this day. Kind of like
Wow.
Clint and the Schmitty thing.
Hey, Clint, we can't hear you.
I was muted because I was coughing. Thank you. No, that's hilarious. I did find the commercial. It was Verizon in 2004, and the guy answers his phone, and his friends all start yelling Schmitty. That's where it came from. So
Nice.
Is it like one of those what's up things?
exactly, it is.
Yeah.
It's exactly like one of those "what's up" things.
Sounds like the era. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. How about you, Alex?
I've had a lot of nicknames. When I was younger, my grandfather called me Wolfie because my middle name is Wolfgang, so I was known as Wolfie for a while. I weirdly enough in middle school, I was in the TV production class, and we were doing this little news report for class, and the guy who was hosting with me, he called me Chop Chop for some reason. So out of nowhere, he calls me Chop Chop, and the rest of like middle school, I was known as Chop Chop to people.
Oh my.
Chop.
I even asked him, dude, where did that even come from? And he goes, I don't know. It was the first thing to pop to my head, and I had to call you. So, and then this was shown to the entire school of this kid calling me Chop Chop because we were doing like the morning news or whatever. It was something dumb. And I just skip ahead. Recently, Delorean has become my new nickname. So,
I wonder why.
Yeah, I mean,
Who would've thunk
I'm in my garage. I don't know if you guys post these on YouTube, but yeah, I've got a DeLorean sitting behind me.
And you've only talked about Back to the Future. I'm actually surprised you haven't come up with it today again. But anyway,
I don't talk about it that much, surprisingly.
Actually,
Maybe to
you
you guys.
Not even to us. I feel like other people talk about it enough for you, and you're just like, yeah, cool.
Yeah, I just so happen to be tagged in every Back to the Future thing, and I don't even really mention it ever.
And
It just comes up.
actually, yeah. And actually, I don't tag you in it because I feel like everybody else does. So that's why I'm like,
I
it's
don't
already
mind.
stated my time. But good. Fantastic. Well, Ferd, thank you for the question. Please let us know your answer. I have a feeling you will have a fantastic response. So thank you guys for the questions. Always hashtag Ask the Dorksmen on Twitter. Anytime you're thinking about it, just send it out there and we will find it. We'll add it to our queue and we'll get to it when the time is appropriate. Fantastic. So I guess now we're on to our main topic for the evening. And we're going back to the future. Sorry, I had to, Alex. But
This guy.
we're talking,
Wait, hold on, would that be considered forcing it?
Yep.
absolutely.
Yeah, got it.
Making good use of the bell.
Yeah. Yeah, by the way, I hope Nate, I'm just assuming Nate's listening to this and angry. So there you go.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Somebody's going to punch out their bingo card.
Oh, here we go. That boy ain't right. Tried to do a Bob's Burgers reference earlier. I'm sure there's more we missed. We always seem to. Ed, I hope we're helping you out. We really appreciate you still fill out the cards, by the way. Anyone should do it. Andrew's put in some time, and he puts new squares in all the time, not only for our podcast, but for so many others. So show his work some appreciation. Give it a listen. Anyway, I believe we are talking about old school Nickelodeon. Right? I'm right on that topic. I know we've talked about a couple different things.
Well, gee, I hope so.
Yeah,
we are
that's what we prepped for, right?
Well, we prepped for it. I have to preface this a little bit. I didn't have cable until I was in high school, so I never watched, or I shouldn't say that. I haven't watched much Nickelodeon before that. So I hope these guys have a lot to say about it, because I don't know if I can contribute a whole lot, but we'll do what we can. So where would you guys be in the Nickelodeon super fans like to start?
I would classify the other two probably as super fans. I remember watching, but I think they'll probably remember more than I do.
Okay, let's do it. Let's start it this way. What is your favorite Nickelodeon show / cartoon of all time?
Oh, of all time?
Oh, that's
Of all
tough,
time.
man.
Ooh. Joey, you want to take that first?
Right?
For some reason, it always is the one that nobody else remembers, but it's the one that I always wanted to be on, and the one I look forward to watching the most. And that was the Nickelodeon version of American Gladiators, which they called Guts.
Guts.
Yeah,
I remember Guts.
Yeah.
I've talked about it on a previous podcast, but it was my favorite. It was just super exciting. Like all the game show ones were always great to watch. That Legends of the Hidden Temple, Double Dare, all those were great. I mean, those are close seconds. I just always loved those game shows, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. But just growing up, you'd always watch them and be like, "Oh man, I wish I could get on that show. That'd be so awesome to be able to be on it and compete and stuff like that." So
I still do that today, just with other shows.
oh yeah, it's not something that kind of just goes away. Supermarket Sweeps back, baby.
Oh, I was thinking The Bachelor, but either way, I'm kidding.
Okay.
Wow.
Make sure I'm clear on that.
You and 25 dudes. What dude are you
That'd be The
choosing?
Bachelorette. I made sure to say it correctly for that reason. That would be funny if they made a mix up and then we just all hang out and party a little bit, whatever. But
They get
I
free
like that.
booze. I mean,
all right. I mean, I who am I picking? I don't know. Eeny, meeny, miny. You're here.
Hey,
You kind of
Chad,
pissed
get
me off
over
at the
here,
pool.
man.
You're out. You here? Yeah.
Can you count
No,
to
it's
10?
always like-
Yeah, you're into.
Chad L, you're in. Chad P, you're in. Chad Q, you got to go. Yeah, exactly. Alex, how about you?
So to whip this back to Nickelodeon.
Thank you.
Whip it quick.
I'll jump back a little bit for you guys. I'm actually, so most of y'all know I'm from Florida. I lived right down the street from Nickelodeon Studios, where they filmed a lot of the shows.
Sure.
So I actually got to see, for instance, Clarissa Explains It All. I got to walk on the set of Clarissa Explains It All.
Wow.
They do tours of the Nickelodeon Studios. It's not there anymore, which is an awful, sad sight, man, because that's a huge part of my childhood, is that building. But if I've got to choose one show, it's hard to toss up between The Adventures of Pete and Pete and Salute Your Shorts.
Oh,
And here's the thing, is those both came out around the same time.
Right.
When I was a kid, Adventures of Pete and Pete was not really my tops.
Mhm.
If I go back now, I'd rather watch Adventures of Pete and Pete. But Salute Your Shorts as a kid, that was the first time I heard a kid cuss. Okay, let me rabbit ears it. Cuss in
Rabbit
on
ears.
Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
Air quotes, yeah, rabbit ears, air quotes. It was one of the characters. His name was Spud, I think, or
Was that the kid with the mullet?
No, he was the nerd kid.
Nerd kid,
And he
okay.
said, you know what really pisses me off? And I remember being like a 6-year-old or 7-year-old going, oh my God, did you just hear that? Am I the only one that just heard them cuss on Nickelodeon? So
wow.
I don't, for some reason that stuck with me. But yeah, I'm going to go with, as a kid, Salute Your Shorts. Now, Adventures of Pete and Pete.
With the yeah. By the way, Alex, before we got on here, asked if he could cuss on the podcast. Now we know why.
I know, I'm bringing the hard-hitting words.
Yeah, wow, dude. Ow, my freaking ears. Let's see. Ryan, you got an answer?
I want to follow up a little bit to what Alex just said. His name was Sponge.
Sponge! Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, Sponge.
And let me just say, Camp Anawana, We hold you in our hearts. There you go.
And when we think about you,
It makes me wanna fart. There you go. Anybody that remembers the show will remember that they always screwed up the line. And what was the counselor's name? The dude that always had that white crap on his nose.
Ugg was his name.
Yeah, he's at the piano, right? Yeah, I remember that show too. Man,
and Donkey Lips. Yeah, dude. Oh,
you know, Donkey Lips is almost worse than pissed. You know.
Oh man,
I'm just saying.
And they said that every episode.
Right. No, I don't. No kid thought twice about it.
They need to get these old Nick shows on a streaming service.
I feel like
they start their own.
So it's funny. Are You Afraid of the Dark is on CBS All Access because this Halloween I went back, and because like my wife didn't really grow up with scary movies or anything, and she doesn't care for them, I was like, well, you know what? I'll put on Are You Afraid of the Dark? And that's a great 90s Nick show right there. Mm-hmm. And yeah, CBS All Access has every episode from every season.
That's because cool. I'd love to watch some of those other ones with, well, probably my son's probably too old now, but maybe my daughter watching the Salute Your Shorts or Hey Dude or any of the other ones. I would just like to watch some Double Dare just for fun.
Yeah.
You go Double Dare. Was
I would go Salute
too.
Your Shorts over Hey Dude though.
Hey Dude is a hard watch.
It was a good show. I mean, I remember watching it when I came home from elementary school, but Salute Your Shorts was just way funnier.
Right.
You can watch Salute Your Shorts on iTunes, by the way. That's the only place I see it listed. So,
but as far as sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry, no. I was going to say that Salute Your Shorts is just more relatable than Hey Dude. Hey Dude, it was like these teenagers on a ranch, and at the time Hey Dude came out, we were all probably 7, 8, 9 years old. Like that. A dude ranch was like, okay.
Not that,
more people have gone to summer camp before, so
exactly
right. More relatable.
Dude ranch, especially for me, not relatable.
Yeah, you brought up the studios earlier, and I've never been to the Universal in California. We just went, not COVID summer, but 2019 summer, we went to Universal, and it's the first time I had been probably in 20 years. And yeah, not seeing the Nickelodeon studios there was quite disappointing. I mean, I loved all the Harry Potter stuff, but not getting to see some of the old stuff.
So Nickelodeon Studios was never in Universal Studios Hollywood. It was only in Orlando.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the one I've been to.
I thought you said Hollywood. I'm sorry.
He's saying he's never been to California. Okay.
Yeah, I've never been to the California one. That was the only one that I went to. Like I said, I was probably around high school age or so when I went. But it was really weird going and seeing that much of a change, since the last time we had been there. Not to mention all the rides that had been canned. But of course, E.T. was still around and kicking at Universal.
And you know what? E.T. will always be there as long as Universal's around.
Yeah,
because even Spielberg.
He made some kind of deal or something with them, didn't he? That they had to keep it around.
Oh yeah, man.
At least update it.
I could talk theme parks all day long. I love theme parks, man.
Well, we got a future topic then. Very good.
Yeah,
but in the meantime, Ryan, do you have a favorite Nickelodeon show?
I would probably go with Legends of the Hidden Temple as well, for the same reason that Joey brought up. Watching that show is like, you want to be like, I want to be that kid to go run through all that stuff, and it always brings back memories for me of like going to the fair. And I can't remember the name of the ride, but it's like they have all these obstacles that you have to get through on the ride to make it from the start to the finish. And it kind of reminds me of all those, I don't know, I guess you would call them struggles that you have to get through in order to get to the finish line in that show. So yeah, good memories of childhood.
Very good. I'm actually surprised you all went with live action versus a cartoon for this. I thought at least somebody would. I'm going to, just to switch it up. So there was a point when and this is not, again, probably live, but there was a point when I really liked Doug. And I'm talking about Nickelodeon Doug, not Disney Doug. There is a major difference.
Yeah.
But I also, and I still kind of like it more today than I did then it was Ren and Stimpy. Ren and Stimpy came out, and it was definitely, still in my opinion, not even a great kids cartoon. It was funny because they showed butts once in a while, but being an adult now and you watch it, you're like, that joke is not for children. That joke is not for children.
Oh, for sure.
They aren't catching that joke, but that joke is not for children. Kind of thing.
So this whole like Nickelodeon thing came up recently for me, just for a documentary came out just recently called The Orange Years, and it discusses all these cartoons and all these shows that we grew up with, and they talk about the Nickelodeon studios in Orlando as well, and they talk about how a lot of these shows were made and how they were able to slip a lot of these like adult humor into these kid shows, because they didn't, when they made these shows for Nickelodeon originally back in the 80s and 90s, their whole point was, we want to be on the same level as kids. We don't want to talk down to them. We don't want to just create a cartoon just to sell a toy, because that's what everybody else was doing. Everybody else was like, okay, we've got these Transformer toys, cartoon. We've got these Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle toys, cartoon. Let's make, money off of this. So the cool thing about Nickelodeon is that they didn't go that route. And I think that's why a lot of this kind of latched on to kids like me and Joey. I mean, if Joey, you said you were a pretty big fan of Nickelodeon when you were younger. Yeah.
Very, yeah. And
that's the thing, is because we felt like we could relate.
Sure.
I definitely. Yeah, Salute Your Shorts. I could relate to those kids.
Yeah. And there was nothing else like it, especially at the time. I mean, you're thinking, this is back when they had Saturday morning cartoons.
Exactly.
Till 10 o'clock, and then that was it. I guess in the afternoon, they might have had stuff after school. But it wasn't to the extent that, hey, it's whatever time o'clock I can turn on Nickelodeon and watch it, versus, it have between 3 and 5 on this network I have to watch, Animaniacs or whatever the case is, which is back, and I'm sure people are loving it at our age. But anyway, absolutely could agree with that. Did you guys ever do any of the Nick Jr. stuff?
No, that was because that came out after I would have been watching it for myself. Now I'm sure I put it on for like my kids when they were that age to watch and stuff. But as far as myself, no, that was after. But like what Alex was talking about, how old are you, Alex?
I'm 35.
Yes, I like how you're
let me think about it. It wasn't your anniversary, so you didn't. No pressure if you got the answer wrong. So I'm 40, so I'm a little bit further along as far as the Nick stuff, as far as my age when that stuff came out. But like Alex was alluding to, and Clint said, there was nothing in the middle ground for my age, really. It was like Clint's talking about, it was cartoons for kids. It was like Smurfs and that kind of stuff. I mean, you did have Transformers and G.I. Joe, don't get me wrong, so that could hold you over for a little bit longer and a little bit older. But it was just like you jumped from that to show for older teens to young adult type thing. There was no middle ground, which like Alex was saying, Nick was able to fill that void that was left behind, which is probably why it did as well as it did, because they were able to appeal to a market that nobody was really appealing to at the time, and catering to them and putting out stuff. And a lot of it was fart jokes, but again, look at your demographic. That's the kind of stuff that appeals to kids when we're that age. So kudos to them for probably taking a risk, I would think, putting stuff like that on the air when people were probably saying it's probably not going to work.
Well, I mean, imagine all the toy advertising is what, I'm sure even today, I'm sure what pays for it. And I say that my daughter likes Paw Patrol, and I'm hoping she gets over it someday, because it's not the greatest. But the reason I bring that up is they have it on demand, and that's where we watch it usually, because I have no idea when it's actually on anymore. But there are so many commercials on during that that's another reason I don't want her to watch it, is because then she, of course, the holidays come up. Oh, I want that. That looks fun. I want that. No, you don't. You'll get sick of that, kind of thing. So I always do remember they had like almost infomercials for kids on during Nickelodeon our time. A lot of 1-800 numbers and 3 easy payments and blah blah blah. And I mean, sure, you're talking about the risks they took, but I'm sure they made their money, and then some advertising and having kids. I want that, and
once it finally took off. But that first initial pitch, to studio executives, hey, we want to make something geared towards middle school kids, and it's going to be mainly fart jokes. So that's what we're going to roll with.
Well, okay, I might have to start with you guys, because you guys keep saying the fart jokes thing. I feel like maybe there was 3 shows that had fart jokes, but for the most part, like Are You Afraid of the Dark didn't have fart jokes. Hidden Temple
some of the
have fart jokes. You know what I mean?
The early stuff, that they were based around, but eventually, yes, I'm not going to say that was the whole genre was just fart jokes. But I mean, eventually, they did spread out into other stuff that that got them going. But it's a hard sell in the first place when you're trying to gear it towards that particular age group. And like Alex was saying, you don't have toys to market along with it to where those kind of go hand in hand. Oh, I want to go get the toy, so now I'm going to watch the TV show, and now y'all going to make money off of commercial revenue that we're going to so it was still risky. But yes, it's more than just fart jokes.
Well, because I can't even think of one fart joke in Doug. You know what I mean?
I was thinking
sure
like salute your shorts, and you can't do that on television.
Oh yeah.
So that's actually what
all
really
that
led.
Yeah.
So you can't do that on television. Actually, kind of led into what we know of as Nickelodeon. It was that show. That's
where
like
slime came
the
from.
Sliming.
Yeah,
it all came from that, and it was a Canadian show that they just licensed. So it was, and then they took off with that. I mean, because when Nickelodeon first started, it was kind of like hokey pokey, and we're gonna learn about this. Oh, it's fun, whatever. Like, it wasn't anything special. And now it's a huge corporation. You can't get Nickelodeon. I mean, you get it everywhere. I'm sorry. Yeah, Nick, you get it everywhere.
It's interesting because it started. I was just reading. It started in 1979 was when it first launched. So yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, a lot of this information that I've got as well is from that documentary called The Orange Years. I really want people to see it because I'm excited that this whole show was, or the documentary was kickstarted, and they were able to capture like Keenan from Keenan and Kel. Actually, I mean, he's a huge star, and now he's sorry, I could go on. I love this stuff, man.
Well, that's why we're talking about it with you. So it makes total sense that you would. Very good. I'm just trying to think what else to talk about and what I was going on. Back to Nick Jr. real quick. I did watch a little bit because I have a younger brother and ended up watching it. I actually like David the Gnome. I thought it was interesting, the stuff they came up with. But the fact that now they have Nick Jr., they have Nick Teen, they have all these different demographics they're going after. Now, I don't think they have Nick at Night anymore. I think that's.
I was about to ask if the documentary that Alex watched had anything about the Nick at Night part, if they mentioned that at all.
So it doesn't go into Nick at Night, but it did go into Snick.
I remember Snick. Yep.
Yeah.
On Saturday morning. Yep. Or Saturday night. Sorry.
Saturday night.
Well, because it wasn't. Sorry.
Well, Snick came about because there was that area in your life where you're too young to go out and do anything outside, but you're too old to be like, I don't know, hanging out with little kids and stuff. So
or going to bed early.
Or going to bed early, exactly.
Right.
So Snick came in and filled that void, and that's where you got really cool shows like the All That, the Are You Afraid of the Dark, like stuff that was towards an older crowd,
right?
Really.
Well, that's where it was
awesome.
What Rugrats was on that, wasn't it? Wasn't it Doug, Rugrats, and Ren and Stimpy at the beginning?
I think Doug and Rugrats kind of like led the way in, and then you got your All That. And then I think it was the last show was Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Right.
To really wrap it all up. Midnight Society. Loved it. Yeah. But yeah, man.
I've never seen Are You Afraid of the Dark? That's disappointing.
No way.
Like I said, man, I didn't have cable, so
I got a couple episodes I want you to watch.
All right, well, you'll have to let me know. I'll give him a peek. Ava likes spooky stuff, so I'll sit down and watch it with her. And if she doesn't, she'll lose interest and go do something else. But I'll watch it.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, you totally should.
But the thing about Nick at Night, and I'm not sure which one of y'all are thinking of, or if y'all were just thinking of that version and not the version I was thinking of, but I'm talking about like the Nick at Night that had like the oldies.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Smart, like Dream of Genie.
Oh, yeah.
But what I think is that now that's broken off to its like own channel. I don't think that's anything on Nickelodeon. I could be completely wrong, but I think it's not on Nickelodeon. It's now a separate thing. But yeah, I remember you'd be watching something, and I'm just gonna make up. We'd watch All That, and then immediately after comes the Munsters.
Yeah,
you go from this brand new color television
or
show
My Three Sons.
Yeah,
or
Dick Van Dyke Show.
Yeah.
Right, Green Acres is on, and you're like, "What the hell is this?"
Green Acres.
It was so weird, just that switch over, like you're talking about. Just
I know it was just instant.
Nickelodeon program. It's
yeah. There was never any leeway, never any announcement. It's just like, hey, here's the end credits for Double Dare, and now we're gonna watch I Love Lucy.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of a sudden goes black and white. It's like, where am I at? Is this the Wizard of Oz? Like it keeps going back and forth.
You can hear the
if I'm going
collective
to
sigh
TV.
of every kid under the age of 12 at the same time when that happened at 6 o'clock at night or whatever.
At some point, though, I used to watch the Nick at Night shows with like my mom and dad because it was stuff that they grew up on and watched and stuff. So you were able to watch something with them.
The Addams Family was on there. I remember watching. My grandma loved Green Acres. Watched that with her. Definitely.
Mr. Ed.
Yeah,
Mr. Ed was another one. Yes.
So true story.
I always found myself watching
Alex
I Love Lucy. Oh no, I was just gonna say I found myself always watching I Love Lucy, but that was about it.
You're not alone, Ryan. Please.
So in 5th grade, true story, by the way, guys. If I still had this book, I would show it to you, but I'm pretty sure my parents threw it out. I used to love Get Smart so much that I would watch it number one by myself. Even though my dad used to watch it when he was younger, I used to watch this by myself every night. And we had to make up a story. You're 5th grade. Your teacher tells you, make up a story, draw the pictures, yada, yada, yada. So what did I do? I did a story about Secret Agent 86.
That's awesome.
And him talking to his shoe.
And everything.
Yeah.
Yep. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you weren't the only one because they made a remake movie of it to appeal to a younger audience. So, you couldn't be the only one that felt that way. I like the show. I get it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It was definitely popular for sure.
Cone of Silence.
Yes. The shoe phone. Yes.
Well, and then they tried to bring it back with more
Steve
recent
Carell.
Steve Carell.
Don't you talk bad about my Steve Carell.
Oh, is that your buddy now? Are you ditching Will Ferrell for Steve Carell now? Is that what's happening?
How many Brick Tamlin jokes do I make over Will Ferrell jokes? Right? I mean, not Will Ferrell, but Ron Burgundy.
He's the lesser of the 4, man.
He's also the more awkward and weird one, which I typically am.
He's also the shortest. Sorry,
I'm not sure what's happening right now.
It's like when you're in a room with old brothers and they shit talk until somebody else shit talks. I'm like, no, you can't do that. We can do it to each other, but you can't do it, or else you get the wrath of all of us. So that's what's happening. Anyway, back to our fun Nickelodeon chat. Did you guys have the slime? It had a different Zap.
Oh, it was Gak.
Thank you. Did you guys have Gak?
No,
I definitely did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Joey, did you? Yeah.
Wasn't that the one in the little container that you could like? Yeah, just pop off the top. And yes, I definitely.
It came in like a flat-looking container. Yeah.
Yes. You can make it. You put it back in, and when you put it back in, it makes like a farting noise.
Oh yeah, there's the fart noise again.
It got dirty so quick.
Oh, for sure. I don't know what was wrong with me when I was a kid. I like to take my hair, like take one strand of hair and put it in the Gak, and then search through the Gak to find that one strand of hair. I don't know why, dude. I was a weird kid, man.
I have a feeling you weren't the only one, though. They might have even done that on a show or something to capture your attention.
Maybe, man. But
I'm trying to think if there's any other Nickelodeon merchandise that is really popular.
Oh, dude, they made so much. They made like the phone. They made a radio with like, they had this thing where you had a screen on a wall and you would turn off all the lights, and then you had a flashlight to like, if you put yourself, you could make like a silhouette. You could draw on the wall on that little.
Yes, I remember that.
I mean, Nickelodeon made all kinds of weird stuff, but it was almost so. Golly, man, I'm going back to the documentary. They talk about all this stuff in the documentary.
Sure, you prepped. Good for you.
I wish I would have watched it like earlier today rather than last week, though. But a lot of the stuff that they sold back in the 90s was all stuff that was made, like Gak was made prior to Nickelodeon and all that, but it was something that like other toy companies and other cartoon networks and all that stuff, they all turned this stuff down, and Nickelodeon was like, well, we'll take it, we'll buy that stuff up and sell it with our name on it. And Gak was the first thing that they sold, and they made so much money off of Gak, and Gak was turned down by so many people,
and something super cheap to make that probably had a super high margin of profit on it too, that people just turned down.
100%. Yeah. I mean, the fact that, look at us now, it's 30 years later and we're still talking about it.
It's a good point.
Part of our childhood,
right?
Simpler times in life when we didn't have all the complications of being an adult. But
then
hashtag adulting.
Right. A memorable part of our childhood for sure, though. So wow.
I'm wondering if anybody would argue though that SpongeBob is definitely the biggest franchise now in
I think,
Nickelodeon's history.
and
I
they're
would
not
agree with that. Yeah.
they're not making it anymore, right? Or I shouldn't say they're making the TV show anymore, right?
As far as
I
I
don't think
know, I think they're working on because of course Nickelodeon has a movie studio now, which
Yeah, I know they
produce
still make movies, and I think they even came out with one
right.
at the beginning of the year, but I don't think they're making the actual TV show anymore. But it was on. God, it was seriously. Well, it was on what, like 2099 even, and it went for like 20 years.
Oh, it went forever.
Yeah.
It premiered in 1999.
Yep.
And then there was a episode or two this year that they put out.
No
I think
way.
one of them was like a lockdown type thing.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it was. Let's see, Lockdown for Love. I don't know, or if this ever actually came out or not. It's just the last thing listed on IMDb. But the last full season was like 2019.
Okay.
Really.
Wow.
There was some that came out in like this year, but it's all like specials.
Right.
And you know how they do that. They'll bring back a special here and there. But I think as
Sure.
far as the last real big season, I think it was, this last one that just came out. But I mean, that doesn't mean that they won't have something.
No. And well, they might be thinking the movies is where the way to go now or whatever, but it's still 20 years for a television show, regardless.
Yeah.
Even a cartoon is amazing. And I would have to agree that's got to be Nickelodeon's biggest property by far.
And the thing with SpongeBob is that kind of ushered in a whole new generation into Nickelodeon. Like that's when we were getting out of it, because we're now in high school at this point. I'm not watching SpongeBob when I'm a senior in high school. So SpongeBob really ushered in a whole new generation, and that's when Nickelodeon kind of turned into a corporation, and they were like, okay, we're going to start making money off of our cartoons. Because before that, they may have made a few toys for like Ren and Stimpy, but you didn't see like a cat dog toy. You didn't see an Angry Beavers toy. I mean, even Real Monsters, you never saw any toys of them. But once SpongeBob came out, there was a flood of merchandise for it.
Yeah, I would argue it's probably their most marketable franchise for sure, as far as being able to make money off of things outside of the ad revenue for the show, like you're talking about with toy lines that are associated with it. Because just every major toy line that probably gets licenses for shows probably has a license with them, to produce stuff. I mean, Thigpen just finally released some SpongeBob stuff. We know Funko's been having some SpongeBob stuff, and I'm sure, there's Hot Wheels and all the major ones have stuff.
Everything.
Lego.
Yeah.
Dude, Ninja Turtles is a Nickelodeon property. Every time I buy anything that's Ninja Turtles, it's got the logo all over it.
Which is crazy to think about, because that was not the case when we were growing up.
Oh, definitely not.
So that's definitely new too, because when I was researching some stuff for the game, that was something that I'd forgotten about, that it was purchased by them and rebooted again
and again.
Yeah. Well, the Toys That Made Us episode on the Ninja Turtles was very interesting, because they talked about how whenever they see a decline in sales, they pretty much say, oh, it's time for a reboot. And then they reboot it, kind of changed the style of the show, changed a little bit about the way the turtles are drawn, so it looks a little different. And now they're going to release a whole new set of toys and, a whole new generation. And the thing is that they had a term for it, and I forgot what it was, but it's basically like when people our age that grew up on it in a certain generation, now we have kids, so we're like the catalyst or the linchpin, whatever, that ties it back into a new generation. Be like, oh, I like this, so you're gonna like it. So here you go. Watch this show. I mean, I did the same thing with my son. So I mean, I can't say anything about it. Showed him the old ones and passed along some of my toys to him and that kind of stuff. And then he watched whatever version was playing at the time when he was young. So it works.
So it's funny. I never really thought about this before until I was listening to what you were just saying. And I know that you were just saying that we're kind of the linchpins of having, showing our kids our old toys and stuff like that. But really, we're the new age salespeople. We're selling our kids on what we liked they keep making the stuff that we like, so we're selling our kids on it. You know, it's I mean, we're salespeople at that point because now we want our kids to buy all those toys.
Yep. So we can live vicariously through them.
So I was just looking it up because I remembered them talking about it on that documentary, The Toys That Made Us, but they sold the Ninja Turtles to Nickelodeon for $60 million back in 2000. I'm having a hard time finding the number. But yeah, so that's quite a purchase price. It looks like 2009 is when
It
they
actually
sold
seems low to me for some reason. I feel like they could have gotten it or should have sold it for more, but what do I know?
Well, I think they may have retained, talking about Eastman and Laird, I think they may have retained some of the like toy, right? You know, kind of like what Lucas has with Star Wars, where
Sure.
he pretty much gets, I think, the majority of the profit share from the toy lines that they have with them. So I think they retained some of that.
Yeah, I want to say that even with Eastman, he still owns just enough to where he still has say on certain things.
Yeah.
Like they can't just make anything. They have
They
to like
did have
go
that in
through
there.
him first.
Yeah.
By the way,
All
he's
right.
got a new run right now of a comic. It's called The Last Ronin, which is a new Ninja Turtles comic, which is, from what I hear, is insanely good. It's the turtles have died off, but one of them is still alive, but it doesn't say who it is yet, but there's another turtle. It's supposed to be phenomenal, and I look forward to reading it. I've actually gotten to meet Kevin Eastman a few times because he lives out here in San Diego.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
right.
I had the pleasure of meeting Kevin Eastman very briefly at Comic-Con in 2019. I had been dying to get my son an autograph from him, but I misinterpreted CCI's information about when the autograph sessions were, and I thought there was going to be another day with them, and it wasn't. So I asked one of the people around the Nickelodeon booth, I was like, hey, I'm totally messed up. It looks like you've given away all the spots. I was really trying to get an autograph for my son. It's his birthday. We're both huge Turtle fans. They were like, oh, just hang around and just wait for him. And he's a really good guy. He's really cool. And so the line cleared out. It's like 7 o'clock. You know how the security is. They're trying to get me out of there. So I kind of have to keep acting like I'm leaving and then doubling back. And he's talking to some, like this little group, which he apparently knew who they were. They may have been some kind of big fan group or something like that. But anyway, once they were finished with him, you know, I went up to him and I was like, hey, I don't really have anything for you to autograph, but I'll just take a piece of paper if you can put your autograph on it for me for my son. That'd be great. It's his birthday coming up. He's like, oh, wait. He's like, we've got a poster left. And so he tells one of the ladies to go ahead and grab one of the posters off the table, and he signs it like, and he personalizes it to my son with his name on it and everything. So
That's so cool.
He's just a really good guy. Can't say enough.
He really is. The dude is super nice. Like anytime that I've ever met him, he actually has made it like a point to like when he meets someone, he tries to learn their name and whatnot. Like, and I've come back and met him again, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, you're Alex. Hey, good to see you again, Alex." I'm like, "Oh my god, wow. Kevin Eastman knows my name."
Yes,
the guy who created my childhood. Dude, I've got toys and VHSs still in my garage.
He says.
VHSs, dude. I've got a whole slew of them. And he created my childhood. So, yeah.
Nice.
He knows my name.
Well, he doesn't know mine. But let's kind of wrap this up as we get to time here. Let me ask you guys this. Let me know what you think. This is the last question. It just popped in my head. If Nickelodeon rebooted something, what would you like to see rebooted? And a caveat to that, only if you want, is if they rebooted it, what change would you like to see?
This is a hard one because there's a lot of
really
good
shows. I was like, oh, here's my answer. And then I was like, oh, wait. And then I was like, no. Oh, come on.
Because
I would love to see Hey Dude, Salute Your Shorts crossover.
Ooh.
Okay.
Now we're talking.
I think that would be really awesome, to where they turned the Dude Ranch into more of like even
Summer
more of like a
camp.
summer camp
Yeah.
type thing. I thought that would be awesome. And then my next one was to go to the game show stuff. And then I was like, I can't pick. I was like, can we possibly do the same thing, combine Double Dare and Legends and Guts and just put it all together in one giant hodgepodge of a game show?
So I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, who knows what they could do? But I'm wondering. The reason I'm kind of asking that is, sometimes the thing I always think of as like the high school philosophy, and I'm not saying everybody had the same experience, but there's a lot of people that say, "Oh, I wish we could go back." It's like, why would you want to go back? You already did it, and you did it right. Why do it again? Kind of
Who says I
mentality.
did it right? Come on, man.
I'm just it's a hypothetical. There's things I would go back and change, but there's people that I know people who just like reminisce and love high school, and it's like, dude, it was great. It's a great memory. It's a great story. It's a great learning experience. Move on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm thinking with this is, yeah, you'd like to bring back, and I'm hypothetical, bring back Double Dare, but would you? And would you change anything? Or if you did bring it back, would you leave it exactly as is? Would Mark Summers still be the host? I don't know what he's doing right now, but what would you change? And that's kind of the thought process behind the question. And Joey had a great answer. Combining two shows, I imagine they have to get new cast, but at least combine them together somehow and do that. That'd be kind of cool.
I think that I'll second that totally. Now, funny thing that you guys had mentioned Legends of the Hidden Temple and Double Dare, because they're bringing both of those shows back.
Oh, are they really?
Those are coming back, which is pretty cool. And I wonder if they are going to kind of stick with the same thing or if they're going to make it edgy. But and again with Double Dare too, they actually do a Double Dare like show where they go on tour.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Mark Summers goes on tour with them.
That's
and you can actually do Double Dare as an adult because they make it now for adults.
That'd be wild. Oh my
That
god!
does sound like fun.
It's not like a show that's put on. It's on like a stage. You go to like a casino and go to Double Dare. It's kind of
because who doesn't want to stick their whole arm up a giant nose and dig through everything, right?
Ow, my back! Now that horrible plastic slide that's now too small for you. Yeah.
So I loved your answer, Joey. If I had to reboot anything, it would be Nick Arcade. I don't know if any of you guys watched Nick Arcade.
I vaguely remember.
It rings a bell, but I don't remember. Please elaborate.
You'd have to refresh my memory more.
Okay, so Nick Arcade, they would come out. They had when all the kids came out, they got to play a video game head to head. It was like a Pong type of game, but whoever won that got to choose first. Then it turned into a trivia game, and if you won the trivia, then you got to choose through an entire wall filled of arcades of Sega, and everybody always played Sonic. So this was like when Sonic was like coming out.
Right,
like awesome. So then you played Sonic, and whoever won the whole thing, you got to go into a video game, pretty much a green screened room.
Right.
You pretty much run around trying to grab all the orbs or whatever you're supposed to grab, and you're in the video game. So I think with the technology that we have now, dude, I think they could really make a cool video game. Or a cool Nick Arcade game. Because if they're bringing back shows like Supermarket Sweep, bring this stuff back, man.
Yes. Bring back Wild and Crazy Kids.
Oh, there's another one, yes.
Crazy Kids.
Yes.
Wild and Crazy Kids.
Ooh. Yeah, good stuff.
I don't have a way to top any of those.
Well, don't top it. Just what would you bring back?
But I agree with Joey. Because of the fact that my favorite shows were of the variety where you feel like you could actually be part of it. So as opposed to watching a cartoon, which, don't get me wrong, I used to watch Doug and stuff like that. But
sure.
Living through it and feeling like I could do that, I would totally bring that back. And the concept of combining two of the shows that we all used to love watching, that'd be freaking awesome.
Yeah. No, it was a great idea. I 100% agree. And it's funny because, you guys, like I said, all went with live action when we said our favorites, and I went with a cartoon. But rebooting a cartoon isn't exactly hard in a sense.
Look what they're doing with Animaniacs.
Right. That's my point. Like it's not this, but it's still not the same. So I don't even think that's like a legit answer per se. You know what I mean? And it's almost more of an extension than it as a reboot.
Yeah. It's a lot harder to catch lightning in a bottle twice with a live action show trying to reboot it and bring it back.
Absolutely.
That's why Rocco's Modern Life reboot did not work.
Right. Even though I loved the original one. I they might be doing this too. I wouldn't mind seeing more all that. I feel like
Yeah.
Keenan was involved
think
with the reboot of that.
Yeah, they did
Yeah,
reboot that.
they did reboot that. Okay, I mean Keenan. Keenan, I swear to God, he's gonna end up being the longest SNL cast member by like 7 times compared to anybody else. But it works for him. Don't get me wrong. But I'm trying to think what else would be fun for Nickelodeon reboots.
While you're thinking of that, I did want to say something earlier. Can we also touch on the subject that I feel like Nickelodeon was way ahead of its time? Because if you look at the variety of different shows that they had for like ethnic backgrounds, right? You had the Dude Ranch. You had, I mean, Summer Camp, maybe not totally ethnic background, but what was it? Something Wu, the Chinese girl. So they had like an Asian show. They had all that, which was a variety cast, and then they had Keenan and Kel, which obviously catered to that demographic. So before even there were like sitcoms all across the board, like Fresh Off the Boat. That's the only Asian sitcom I can really think of aside from what's that Korean comics name? Margaret Cho, right? Where she's talking about her mom. I really think they were
Made
ahead
in
of their
America.
time.
Was that the name of that one?
They were ahead of their time. They really were.
I want to piggyback off of what you're saying, Ryan. It's funny that you say all this because they really did. Their CEOs were all female. And I think they still have a female CEO.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's
like,
fun.
This is like, and they go over it in this documentary of how this was very rare to have all these CEOs and COOs, all these people very, very high up, where usually a white man would be. It was a female, which was fantastic. It was really cool. And even like, for instance, the show Clarissa Explains It All, the fact that most networks would say, well, let's change the main character to a boy because we're going to lose our entire boy audience if we cast a girl. But that wasn't the case. When you watch that, everybody can relate to her. I loved the show. Most boys loved Clarissa Explains It All because she was cool. She was hip. She was the girl next door that we all wanted to hang out with and hang around. You know, and you're right. That's another little bit of diversity.
Yeah.
And just for clarification, the Margaret Cho show was called All American Girl.
There you go.
Thank you
I thought
for
it was made in
clarifying.
America over there.
And aside from the live action, I think it also important to say, like, and correct me if you guys feel otherwise, but Doug was always, in my opinion, very socially awkward. And if you compare it to current times, and I mean, it's important that we bring it up because there are a lot of kids that are autistic, whether you're very high on the spectrum or very low on the spectrum. It's important that they address those types of things, that kids can be different and they can still be, in the group per se. Have a vivid imagination where it allows you to think of things in a different aspect. Now that I'm an adult and I can see things from a different light, because I used to love watching Doug. Who wouldn't want to put their underpants over their pants, right? And wear a belt on your head.
I've seen a number of Quail Man outfits and Halloween costumes, so I totally get that.
Yeah.
You know,
it's like
I'm
you
gonna
see
go back.
it now as an adult, and I don't know if they really meant it that way. But again, they were very ahead of their time for making kids feel welcomed for being who they are.
Yeah, well, and another thing about Doug too is it also color diversity. I mean, every character on that show was a different color.
Scooter was green.
Pork Chop.
Yep, Pork Chop was blue or bluish gray. I mean, but there was green characters, there was blue characters, there was purple characters. It was fantastic, and everybody was accepted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Except for Roger, because he was a jerk.
Yeah, he was a dick.
Yeah, but he was accepted. He wasn't accepted because he was a jerk, not because of how he looked or did or wore his coat. He would just treat people poorly. But you're absolutely right.
I got a question for you, Ryan.
Yep.
Did you have a crush on Patty Mayonnaise?
No.
With a name like Mayonnaise, how could you not, right?
Yeah, dude, I did.
I bet you did.
She had that southern accent. Oh, got me. You were on tan. She had blonde hair and a southern accent. Oh, chef's kiss, baby.
If you can call that hair. But anyway, so my answer, going back to the original question about reboots, is I think I would like to see a cartoon spinoff. I think it might be cool to see Nickelodeon's Doug maybe in a different perspective or later on, or the Patty, maybe do it through Patty's perspective instead, or do something around those lines. Do Hey Arnold and do Gerald's perspective, or do them 20 years later, something like that. Just to see some ideas, because I think the adults have evolved and the kids might learn something. So that's my answer.
Yeah.
So that has been our fun Nickelodeon chat. Obviously, like most of our chats, we can go much longer, but we do want to, give you your time back. I, I didn't drive watching everybody. Alex just pulled his headphones away from his ears.
I'm
Appropriately.
preparing myself.
Yes, I understand why. Before we do that, though, real quick, all four of us were wearing headgear. Joey has since taken his off, but you still need a ring for that. With that said, what time is it?
It's game time.
Okay, now I can turn it louder again.
All right, we're back.
All right.
Joey, lays on us, man.
This week's game is called Name That Tune.
This T-O-N. Nice.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, Clint, for explaining it to everybody. This week's game is a hybrid. So the first 15 rounds, I'm going to give you 3 characters from a famous Nicktoon in descending difficulty. So the first one will be the most difficult. The third one will be should give it away if you haven't gotten it yet. As soon as you know what show these characters are from, you will buzz in. If you get it right after the first clue, it's 15 points. If you get it right after the second clue, it's 10 points. And after the third clue, it's 5 points. You lose the same amount of points if you are wrong. You cannot steal until the next clue is given if someone was wrong on the previous clue. You will use the points you earned from rounds 1 through 15 to answer an individual final trivia question that only you can answer. You'll tell me your wager, and then you'll pick a number 1 through 5. First place picks last, so reverse order, because one of the 5 is a trap where you're forced to give all the points you wagered to someone else. Trivia questions are about classic live action TV shows. That's the trivia questions. So those are not about the cartoons.
For the final one.
For the final questions,
Okay.
yes. Those are about
Got
live action.
Well, because I'm a dumb person, I might need you to repeat some of that later on down the road. No,
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Let's
I do have a
this
question.
thing.
I just want to make sure I'm clear. If you answer wrong, you lose. You don't miss those points. You lose points. So if you answer on a 15, not only do you not get the 15, but you lose 15 points.
Correct.
Okay. I just want to make sure I
you
understood
lose
that.
15, and then the person that wants to steal has to wait till the second clue's read out.
Got that. Okay.
Here we go. First one. Harold Berman. Alex.
Hey, Arnold.
Hey, Arnold is correct.
Well done,
Very
sir.
good, sir. Yes, well done indeed.
Another quick question, and that doesn't matter. If you answer, say Alex answered then and got it wrong, he cannot answer again for that round.
Correct. That's correct as well. Yes.
Okay.
What was the other clue? Never mind. Don't tell me. I'm just.
Oh, I want to know what were the other 2.
The other 2 were Gerald Johansson.
Yeah. Oh,
and
easily. Yeah.
And Helga was the third.
Oh,
one.
Helga, yeah.
Oh, Helga would have definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, on to round 2. The first clue. Principal Waxelplax. Clint?
That's got to be Doug.
No, that is incorrect.
Wow.
So I will give another clue for Ryan and for Alex. Doug Dimmadome. I'm very disappointed in both of you gentlemen. And the third and final clue is Timmy Turner.
Oh.
Alex?
Recess.
No, that's a minus
This is
5.
a Disney show. I know it now.
Clint knows now, although he can't get points, but you can go ahead and tell us.
No, it's Fairly Odd Parents.
Fairly Odd
Very
Parents.
Oh, that was way after my time.
Yeah.
I did not watch Hey Arnold, and I never watched that show either. So
I never watched that one either.
You have more points than I do.
All right, here we go. Third round. The Flying Dutchman. Clint.
Ren and Stimpy.
Incorrect. Clint's really
Damn.
trying to be in the negative Nate points tonight, boy. Tell you what.
I'm not trying. I'm succeeding.
I tell you what.
Clue number 2. Sandy Cheeks.
Oh, damn it.
Alex.
SpongeBob SquarePants.
That's another show I've never
SpongeBob
watched.
Is correct.
Even though it's their most successful
recognized
show.
it, but, oh.
So what was that? 10?
Yeah.
Yes,
You're at 15 now.
correct. Yep.
Well,
No,
now
he's
I'm
at 20. He's at 20.
Oh, sorry, you're right. You're 20. What was the last clue? SpongeBob or Patrick? Patrick Starfish?
Plankton.
Plankton.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of the easier shows I tried to stay away from the super easy characters, but some of them I tried. Like Timmy Turner, I thought, oh well, they'll get it by then. But if they're
Right.
lame, they've never watched it.
Yep.
All right.
We all
Round
don't
number
have
4.
kids that age. Go on.
Lil DeVille.
Oh,
Alex.
Rugrats.
yeah.
Rugrats is correct.
That
for
one I
15
knew.
points.
What were the other two?
Lil and Phil.
Chucky,
Chucky.
and then
Oh.
Tommy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Tommy
Angelica.
Pickles.
And real quick, they actually rebooted that show where they're all grown up.
Yeah,
Which
it's
is
I've
weird.
heard about that.
So it was weird, but I was like, finally, something that, like, I don't know, they grew up with us a little bit.
Yeah, I get that.
Number 5. Mr. Ping.
Hmm.
Second clue. Mantis. Third and final clue.
Hold on.
Flint.
I guess I didn't realize that was a Nickelodeon thing. Is that Kung Fu Panda?
Kung Fu Panda is correct. So now
Mantis.
you're only at negative 20. Good job, Clint.
I was going to say,
Oh, you're
Guardians of the
going for new
Galaxy, Volume 2.
You're going for newer Nick, man. That's where
I did not
That's
realize
a completely different.
It's
it's
yeah,
like a
Kung Fu
cartoon?
Panda. There's a Nickelodeon version
I had
of it,
no
of
idea.
a TV show. Yeah,
Wow.
I kind of went all over the place. There's newer
Sure,
stuff.
no, I
there's
just-
mid-range stuff. There's older cartoons. So
I
No,
just
that's
had no
great,
idea.
man.
Yeah.
here we go.
Good stuff.
Round 6. Goddard. Second clue. Sheen Estevez.
Sheen? Wow, no.
Third and final clue.
No way.
Carl Weezer.
Also known as Carl Weathers.
I'm so disappointed.
Dang.
This would be Jimmy Neutron, Boy Genius.
Oh, Jimmy Neutron.
Yeah, I
That
don't
was
know
actually a fun show. I
It
only
really
watched
was.
a couple of it, but yeah.
All
Buddy
right, here we
approved.
go. Round 7. Ed Bighead.
Oh.
Alex.
Rocco's Modern Life. Rocco's Modern Life.
Correct for 15 points. Well
I would have
done.
laughed. I would have literally fell out my chair if that was wrong after he sang that.
Seriously, dude, I was like, wait a second. If this is wrong, this is going to sound real dumb.
This might be another one that y'all might struggle with because it's one of the newer ones. I'll give you that clue.
All right.
First clue, Sam Manson. Second clue, Tucker Foley. Third and final clue, Danny Fenton.
God, you know people are sitting there listening to this.
Oh,
going,
I'm sure
"You
they are."
idiots!"
I have an idea, but I'm not willing to wager on it. I don't even know what the show's called now. I think about it. Never mind.
Correct answer was Danny Phantom.
Oh, no.
Never even heard of it.
Yeah.
It's another Butch Hartman cartoon, the same guy that did Fairly Odd Parents.
Ah,
Oh,
makes
God,
sense.
Okay.
All right, here we go. This one, hopefully, y'all should get. First clue, Soka.
Ava knows it.
Oh,
Apparently.
man, I feel
Second clue, Katara.
Oh, damn it. I should know this.
Third and final
like I
clue,
don't want to hit it.
Aang.
Yeah, I did know it. Last Airbender.
Yes, Avatar: The
Oh,
Last Airbender.
man.
Correct.
I almost said like Clone Wars.
Oh, man. So far, Clint is in our lead with
No.
50 points.
How? Wait,
Yeah,
what?
wait. Read that again. That's not right.
Hold on, that is definitely not right.
Who's in the lead?
Sorry, Alex with
There
50.
we go. That is right.
Clint is in the lead in the negative.
Right. If we were playing golf,
with
I'd be doing
negative
awesome.
15, negative 8 points. And then
Yep.
Ryan staying on brand with Ryan points so far. Round 10.
He's just used to me winning. That's all.
He just acquiesces early.
That's right.
Okay. And I apologize to our listeners that may be fans of this show if I pronounce any of the names wrong. Tito McConney. Clue number 2, Twister Rodriguez.
Oh man, could it be? No.
And here should be the giveaway. Here it comes, Alex. Clue number 3, Otto Rocket. Alex?
Rocket Power.
Rocket Power.
The hell show
It was
is
the
that?
Otto. Otto had like dinged something in my brain.
I had never even heard of that show.
Same.
Oh, dude. Actually, well, I guess you wouldn't. You're not really a beachy type of guy, so never mind.
Round
Fair
11.
enough.
Good to you, Ryan.
Neither am I.
First clue, Mrs. Pepper. Clint.
Blues Clues.
Blues Clues. Blues Clues. You're actually in the positive now, sir.
No, I'm just not
sorry, you're
negative.
at 0. You're at
What
0.
was the other clues for that one?
Tickety Talk and Magenta were the other
Oh, so
clues.
good.
Yeah.
So good.
I wouldn't have known those. Anyway.
All right, here we go. Round 12. Mr. Horse. Clint.
That's Ren and Stimpy.
That's Ren and Stimpy. You
Oh,
are now in the
yeah.
positive.
Dude,
sir.
Mr. Horse was
Didn't like it.
that was one of my favorite characters. Mr.
That's all he
Horse.
said. I don't think he ever said anything else, did he? No, sir? Didn't
No,
like it.
sir. Didn't like it.
I remember that.
That's all
What was
he
the
ever
good
said.
ones?
Muddy Mud Skipper.
Oh.
And then my favorite, Powdered Toast Man.
Powdered toast.
Yeah.
Powdered toast.
I was hoping you would say log.
man.
Log.
What rolls downstairs?
Olives and pears are over your neighbor's dog. It's great for a snack. It fits on your
Fits on your-
back. It's log, log, log.
It's log. It's log. It's big. It's heavy. It's wood.
It's log, log. It's better,
It's better
than bad.
It's good.
There you go.
That's the
All right,
title.
here we go.
It's better than bad. It's good. That's the one.
It's appropriate for our podcast.
Absolutely.
All right, round 13. First clue. Rico. Second clue. Skipper. Third clue. Kowalski.
Oh, I got it. I didn't realize this was them either. Apparently they own all the DreamWorks things. This is Penguins of Madagascar.
Correct.
Oh my
Penguins is
God.
correct.
This is that's Nickelodeon.
Right, that's exactly because of Rico. Yeah,
Yeah.
but then the second name I didn't ring in fast enough. But
Yeah, there was a
I
couple
just-
that they did, like Barnyard. That was I think a
Mm.
DreamWorks cartoon movie. It had a TV show for a while as well. There were a few others. Okay, here we go. Round 14. First clue. Roger Klotz.
oh,
Alex.
Bug.
Doug's correct.
Mm.
Your other two clues were
Do-do-do-do-do.
Peter Valentine and Patty Mayonnaise.
oh, okay. I would have
Yeah.
gotten Patty, but I don't think I even need. I didn't know Peter's last name ever. All right.
No love
Skeeter.
for pork chop.
Eater.
Not
Yeah,
Peter.
see, I didn't know
Peter.
Peter's last name apparently either.
Yep, Skeeter Valentine.
All right, here we go.
Lots.
Last one. Come on, Ryan. You got to get on the board with this one, brother.
I knew two. I just didn't ring in fast enough, so
Oh, wow. Okay, then.
yeah.
All right. Last one. First clue. Irma Langenstein.
Yeah, I'm not getting any points.
Second clue. Baxter Stockman.
Oh,
Oh,
Clint.
Oh my God.
that'd be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh my God.
what was the first
Correct.
clue again?
Irma. Remember April O'Neil's friend?
No.
No.
You don't remember her? I think it was like her roommate or something. Ah, Lee,
What was your last
Baxter
clue?
Stockman.
Splinter?
I'm like, I know that.
April O'Neil.
Was it April O'Neil?
Oh, hell.
Yeah. Okay. So we have two participants in the final round. Because Ryan has, you know what, Ryan? I'm gonna spot you some points, brother.
Wow, look at that.
Here, can you give him
10
20 of mine?
Oh, you want to make
Oh.
things interesting?
Wow.
I'll
look
give
at
him
you.
20 of mine.
Okay.
I
So
don't care what
Ryan
anybody
has,
says about you, Alex. You're a nice guy.
yeah,
I appreciate
especially what
that.
Clint says about you. So Alex,
You
you're
asshole.
down to 50. Clint, you are at 30. And Ryan, you have your 20 points. Okay. So Ryan, you will actually go first since
Yep.
you're in last place right now. How many points would you like to wager?
All 20.
All 20 will be your wager. Okay. And then pick a number 1 through 5.
5.
Number 5. On this show, which aired from 1983 to 1991, host Don Herbert would conduct a variety of experiments with his young helpers.
I know it. I forgot this was a
God, I
Nickelodeon
didn't
show.
get this one. Wow.
You don't know it?
I think you know the show, but I don't think you realize it was a Nick show. And I think if you did, maybe you would remember.
That's what I'm thinking.
All right.
I'm surprised they didn't show it on the documentary.
I don't know.
Maybe they did, and maybe you're just not making that connection.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ryan gives up. Clint, why don't you let listeners know what it is?
Mr. Wizard.
Mr. Wizard's World is correct.
Come on.
That's right. That's a Nickelodeon show.
Yep. And actually, I found out he had a show like back in the 50s and 60s that he did very similar things to what he did on the one that actually got put on Nick. It was one of their first shows. So,
Shit.
Clint, what's your wager, sir?
25 points, please. Well, I have 30, right?
Correct.
No, how many points do I have? Okay, I'll go 25. Just to have 5 left over when I lose.
25. Okay, here we go.
I'll go number 3, please.
Number 3. Although she only appeared on 7 episodes, Alanis Morissette is arguably this show's most famous alum.
That would be You Can't Do That on Television.
Very good. Exactly correct. So you are now 5 points ahead of Alex, with Alex having 3 questions. It's going to be 2 questions left and a trap. And if he gets the trap, depending on what he wagers, he may lose.
So what would be smart here? Oh my
I don't
God,
know.
would
You
I
figure
just
that
do
out, bud.
5
You
points?
should do a decimal too. Do like 14.7.
5.5 points. So what? You're
Times
ahead
pi.
by 5.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think so.
So you've got to wager at least 6 if you want to try to win. If you pull the trap card, you're automatically going to lose because it doesn't matter who you give the points to,
This sucks.
because you will only have 44 left. But that's how much you have to wager if you want to try to win. It doesn't really matter if
I'll
you
just
wager more.
I'll go for 6.
6 points is your wager.
And here comes the trap. I'm going for number 4.
Number 4 is the trap question.
I knew it.
I had a feeling with 4D that was going to be it, man.
4 is my number, man. I always choose 4.
Oh,
And
man.
I was like, this is gonna happen.
Oh,
So our
man.
winner for this week
Unreal.
is Clendingus.
Oh, Alex, I'm sorry.
Congratulations.
Real.
Joey, first of all,
You
the
know
game's
the problem
stellar.
is, I gave 20 points to you, and then you destroy those 20 points.
You didn't know the answer either.
It wasn't my question.
Can we first of all,
gosh.
Joey, again, good job. I would
Yeah.
love to know the other 2 questions since you went to the trouble of writing them out.
Yes.
The other 2 were, which show was canceled when Nick opened their studios in Orlando and couldn't justify production costs filming in Arizona anymore?
Oh, hey, dude.
Yeah, that'd be my guess.
Dude is correct.
Yeah.
And then famous voice actor D. Bradley Baker was this show's announcer and also voiced Olmec.
Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Correct.
Mm,
I would have had this game.
you would have, man.
I would have had this game, guys. I really should have won. This is unfair. I'm leaving. I'm going back to Secondary Heroes now.
When did Mickey Mouse show up?
Kind of Mickey Mouse operation are you guys running over here anyway?
My internet is cutting out.
Dude, you guys should see the pose Alex is frozen in right now. There you go. Alex, did you know the Alanis Morissette question?
I would have guessed. I would have guessed what you guessed.
Cool.
Just
I actually
because,
knew that was
and
surprising.
the only reason why is because she's Canadian, and that's a Canadian show.
Yep.
I mean, when the math adds up, just ask Nate. Math joke.
Oh.
All right. So anyway, Alex, seriously, thank you for joining us today. It's been a pleasure.
No, thank you guys
thank
for
you.
having me.
We love having you on, obviously, because this is the second time. Plus, you were on our Nerd Unite Con game show, and you did well there.
That was a good
but
one.
let's do some plugs for us. Let us know people where can find you and or anything else you are involved in, please.
Well, I'm not involved in much, but I am involved in the Secondary Heroes podcast. You can follow us over on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We're fairly active, I guess. And you can follow me. You can follow me on my name is Delorean Wolfgang, just missing the A in Wolfgang for Twitter because there wasn't enough characters. But yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram, Alexander_Wolfgang, which is just pretty much my DeLorean all the time. So don't worry about that one.
No. Now, to give you credit, you have some phenomenal photos, sir. Some you've taken and some you're in. So you can't. It's definitely worth a follow just to see some of those. When COVID hit, I love that sign of you saying everything's going to be okay, standing out in front of the DeLorean like you traveled back from the future. So,
but
still waiting on that one.
My favorite Alex photo doesn't even involve his DeLorean. It's the one when he worked at the Funko Hollywood opening.
Oh,
and
yes.
It's the black and white photo of him with the Hollywood sign reflected in the sunglasses, and he's holding up the little Hollywood Freddy.
You know what's
I
funny?
love that picture.
You want to know what's real funny about that? I actually shot that picture in my office with I had a screenshot of Hollywood sign on my computer screen. I sat really close to this computer screen with the glasses, and I just took the picture like that.
Well, it turned out phenomenal.
It did turn. I thought it was photoshopped. I'm impressed.
I've got some stories about that Funko Hollywood. I got in trouble a lot over there.
Well, between you and Dima, a former guest, along with Cameron and Sully, I'm not surprised to hear that. So, but anyway, seriously, follow you. I thank you again. This has been a blast. Couple quick housekeeping rules or housekeeping things again. Dorksmen@gmail.com. We do email. We actually do read them. We just might not respond immediately. An example of that is we do have one of the Newland brothers. I think John sent us some questions. I do add to the sheet, even though they're not on Twitter. But hashtag Ask the Dorksmen on Twitter. We'll find your questions. We'll add it. We'll answer just like we did today. @_Dorksmen on Instagram and Twitter is where you can find us. We have a Facebook presence. I'm not great at updating it, but thank you for those that actually like it and interact with it. And I think that's it from following. Our own Asian Tony Stark, aka Ryan, will be usually tries to stream Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays on his own personal channel. Please follow him at Asian Tony Stark, and he will give you details about when he is going live. I will be going live on Tuesday, playing Mario Kart, 7:00 Pacific time on the Dorksmen channel, twitch.tv/the Dorksmen. Hopefully, Sully will be able to join me. I know he is announcing prizes for the whole Nerd Unite Extra Life campaign, so we might not have time, which is the way it is. Fine. Friday, 7:00 Pacific time, also on Twitch, we do Dorksmen Game Night hosted by Ryan. It's been Jackbox for months now, and it doesn't seem to be going anywhere because it just gets more and more funny and more popular. So please join us for that. I think that's it, unless anybody else has anything else to say.
Nope.
I don't
Fantastic.
think so.
Well, we will do our sign-offs. Alex, I hope you have one. I think this is not news to you, so I will start, and we'll do a counterclockwise from the order we're in. With that said, word, homies.
Fart joke.
Slime.
DeLorean Wolfgang. Roll out.